Good morning, everyone. What do we say today? Day 6 of the New Zealand level 4 lockdown, and it's cooler today. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I showed you at the end of my video yesterday. And this is what I sat down and crocheted. It's really hard to put down crocheting once you start, and so I've been trying to be very restrained. Anyway, as you can see, it is no longer geometrically square. That's okay. It's not a maths equation, it's a hug, and that's really okay. Yeah, so it's part of how things progress naturally when you choose different thicknesses of wool. Like I've got this hug that I prepared earlier, no, some time ago actually, and in here it's a very loose crochet, and it's with different thicknesses of fluffy and soft, and so it's predominantly square, although it's extremely relaxed around the edges and it kind of ruffles a little. But so when you hold it up, there is, it's not perfectly square. Yeah, like I said, this isn't a maths equation, this is a hug. And you use the soft hug by folding it in half, pulling your arm in and tucking your other arm in and just squeezing. And it's the same physiological effect as if someone hugged you, which is why I call them hugs. Anyway, I have another one I prepared earlier, and this has got a little fat center and then a little tight square, and then I've made it looser with my crocheting. And the intention of that is that it will wrap easier around someone. And I've done them in the past so that the corners are even longer and even more elongated, so that they sit over baby car seats, and they mean that you can put them up and make them a canopy easier, or you can tuck a baby in the middle and then you have long ends to wrap around them, so that your square is not perfectly square. It's all about the hug. So today, let's do stitching in ends again. Now, when you're stitching in ends, when you've got a different colour, the white, and a variegated colour on the top, you need to be mindful about where you stitch these ends. So the white, I'm going to stitch on and through the white itself only, so it doesn't stick out, it becomes invisible. So I've got a much smaller hook for stitching my ends than the size that I was using, so it fits comfortably in between the stitches and it doesn't make the crocheting misshapen by having to pull it larger than it wants to go. Yeah. So things to be mindful of when you're stitching stuff, when you're weaving your ends in. Try not to split the yarn that you've already crocheted, because if you ever have to unpull it, it becomes ridiculously hard to unpull your yarn, to unpull your work. I did that last night. Anyway, yeah. So today's lesson really is, don't get hung up on patterns, don't get hung up on it's not perfectly geometrically square, don't get hung up on it's not the same size. This is crocheting as an artist, not a recipe follower. Now, one of the things that was pointed out to me last night was that I call the little group of three, each one of them, I call them a treble, right? It was how I was taught, and apparently that is a UK, from the UK, it's British way of calling that stitch a treble. Apparently in America it's called a double crochet. But what's important is look at how I'm doing the stitch, and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And that's how you learn to crochet. You do stuff over and over and over again, and you become really proficient at it. And regardless of what anybody calls it, it will still make a beautiful hug, and it will still be a very satisfying exercise at the end of it all. So if you're somebody who really likes to follow patterns, be careful. There are American patterns and British patterns, and they use different terminology. But in the end, they use the same stitch. And in the end, they create beautiful works. So whichever one floats your boat is the one you should use. Anyway, stitching in these ends for the win. One of the, let's go with that. I'm stitching in ends. It's a job that I don't leave to the end. I don't leave till I've finished my work. I do it as I go along, mostly because floppy ends drive me mad, and having a whole work that looks entirely unfinished until right at the end is not something that my head can deal with. However, other people might find it a whole lot easier to have all your ends out and then just stitch them in when you finished your work. I find it way easier to stitch them in as you go. So I'm just going to put another row on this so you can follow along if you want. So I'm up to doing a treble into a side hole. Yeah. And if I'm going too fast for you, if you go back to the day before, I did trebles real slow, and it'll help. And the video is not very long. So, right. The reason I'm stitching those in is, like I said, I like things to finish as I go, and I was getting to the corner and I'm just about to go up. So 3 stitches, 3 chain, and see how it's created a thick chain? Because my ball is all kinds of different, don't worry about it. You just stick your hook in the top of that first chain that you created, pull the wool through, do a little slip stitch, and then do 1, 2, 3 chain and start again. Roll it into the back of the stitch, pull it forward, 1, 2 for your first treble, and roll it into the back and pull it forward, 1, 2. Because our length is getting longer, it means I've got more trebles in between the corners. So 1 chain and then your next lot of trebles. So yeah, remember, not geometry, a hug. And in this hug, there is a lot of love. I went and I chose a scarf that had someone had taken the time to do, and it was looking for a home in a second-hand shop, and I knew that wool costs over $17 for me to buy it from a wool shop. And so I looked at it and thought, oh, that would make the best hug. And it is beautiful. And so I took it home and I enjoyed every moment working out how to unpull it, because that's a puzzle all by itself. And then I got my steps up, winding this wool up, and now I have the utter pleasure of telling you guys, teaching you guys how to crochet your own hug and what it means to make a hug. Anyway, have a really good day, and if you want to know about the tools you should use or how you get started, look back in my other videos on my YouTube channel. Please go to my YouTube channel and subscribe and hit the bell. That will give you the tutorials that I'll do coming along, and flick me a comment or a question if you need to, and yeah, share it. Please share it. I would like to make this so that this ancient art form, because it is an ancient art form, gets to have new life in this modern world and in this lockdown world where we get to spend time at home by ourselves. So please subscribe, share, like, ring the bell, do the thing, and ask the questions, and show me your hugs. I mean, please, if you're on Facebook, post me what you've started. That would be brilliant. Anyway, have a beautiful day. Oh, my name's Joanne Gardner. If you are wondering, Joanne Gardner, and I live in New Zealand. Thank you. Bye.